So it's going to start further on down the line, because it took a while for me to actually realise that I was depressed and suffering from anxiety, and that I'd been self-medicating for years and years with alcohol and drugs and, you know, the sort of rock and roll lifestyle that everybody thinks they should be doing, but it's not necessary. Yeah. When I did find out that that's what it was, and that I was compensating for things, I'd already been in bands for many years and had to drink to get on stage. Needed that crutch, needed something, and then afterwards, when the adrenaline's worn off and the good time on stage is finished, that's when the drugs start, because, you know, I needed something to fill that gap. But so it took a while for me to realise. I had a girlfriend who was training to be a counsellor, and she was very aware of her mental health, and at the time I didn't even consider that I had depression, and this I must have been about 18, 20. She really knew what she wanted to do and was very aware of everything. Further down the line, I realised that I'd got a problem but didn't want to face it, and then it took until after I split from my wife that there was definitely something that I needed to do. I mean, the pair of us were a nightmare together because we were always out. Her job, it was always business functions and parties and that sort of thing. And we just lived that sort of lifestyle. I lived in London at the time, and I was doing music. And but then when the marriage finally split up, that's when I knew I needed to go and get help. And a very good friend of mine, who I was in the previous bass player in Temple, said, right, come on, we're going to the doctors, and we're going to get you booked in for some counselling, and I'll go with you if you want me to, or I'll just sit outside, which led to obviously confronting things that I didn't want to deal with without that crutch of alcohol or that sort of thing. But the guy was amazing, excuse me. The guy was amazing, and over the course of the time that I was there, convinced me to try doing a gig without alcohol, which was petrifying, absolutely petrifying. But my bandmates are excellent people and supported me the whole way. Did it, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't great. It wasn't. I mean, I was absolutely terrified, but I could do it, and I realised then that I could do it. So why not do it again? And then why not do it again? And then and then unfortunately, after a couple of times of doing that, that's when I found out that I got the problems with the vocal cords. But even though I've not been able to sing for a year, having the band there and having something to focus on, and having the support network, I suppose, they wouldn't like to, I don't know whether they'd like to hear themselves described as that, I don't know, but they definitely are, that's what they are. But yeah, so having something to focus on definitely helps, definitely. I don't know where I'd be without it, really. Having been to counselling, it's made me realise that I don't mind talking about anything. I'm happy to. There are no secrets, and as far as I'm concerned, and if talking to somebody about it will, possibly help in some way, or just convince them that seeking help is the right thing, then I'm willing to do it. And I would say, definitely talk to somebody, and possibly talking to somebody that you don't know is easier. I mean, if you can't talk to family members, if you can't talk to friends, some people are too macho to think this is something that men can do, and it's a lot of guys that I know in the music industry, not just in Leicester but in London, have been through the same thing. And if you're talking to somebody, these conversations can happen at any point. And when you realise that somebody else has been through the same thing, it makes you feel less alone and less isolated. As you know, there's been a lot of suicides in the press, in the music industry, and so when something like that happens and people open up, and then they'll say, well, yes, I've felt like that, and it just sort of, it's amazing how far the tendrils spread, and that this can touch anybody and at any point. It's amazing. And for somebody that thought that I wasn't depressed and that it wouldn't happen to me, even though it had been for many years and I'd been masking it, you know, it can help. And it only takes one late night or one conversation with somebody to just make you realise that, you know, you can talk to somebody. Music as an outlet for me, with writing lyrics and getting to perform them, I've been doing it for a long time, and I found a way of sneaking in subjects that I possibly didn't want to just say straight out in plain words. I'd disguise in lyrics that even my bandmates wouldn't know what I was talking about, and they're going, what's that bit all about? And can't we change that? No, we can't change that, because to me, encoded within those lyrics, it was spelling out different parts of my life. I've since written things for myself or with different people with the subject of depression as the subject matter. I didn't want to ram it down people's throats, so I found ways of sneaking bits in. But the whole fact that you're getting out there and doing it, it's terrifying, especially when it's your own music. But I just find myself drawn to it. I was saying this earlier as to whether people with depression and anxiety are drawn to the performing arts, or whether it's the performing arts that causes. I can't fathom it. But I just think that you need that outlet. I definitely need that outlet. And even though it's absolutely terrifying, and to put yourself on the line, to not do that would be so much worse. And I'm so grateful that I get the opportunity to do it, and to have people listen to my ridiculous lyrics that seem to mean absolutely nothing. But to me, it helps me get things off my chest. And, you know, after a gig, it's pure elation. That last song, and you know you've got through it pretty much unscathed, and you've only dropped the mic 3 times and fallen over twice. But just the look on people's faces, and if somebody sings the lyrics back to you, I'm blown away. That's amazing. But people get really involved and really excited, and then afterwards, the amount of people that want to talk, and it is pure elation. Which is, you know, then finding that you don't need to do something after that. That's it. That's what you do this for. This is the outcome. It's being with in my case, a band of brothers, and, you know, combating the world together. To do that is phenomenal. It really is. Yeah, I'd always encourage anybody to do it, and we have done. I mean, there's so many people that have been to our gigs, and we've seen them grow up, you know, over the last 7 years or whatever it is, and now they're doing their own bands, and you know, they're writing their own music. It's fantastic, and, you know, we'll try and get them gigs and you know, help them out. It's fantastic. Got to keep moving. There needs to be more music in the world, more passion, definitely.